The site where the Ark of the Covenant was known to have been stored in Israel for 2 decades is about to be excavated for the very first time.
Scientists have just unveiled the legendary Ark of the Covenant, and what they discovered is astonishing. For thousands of years, the Ark remained hidden away in Jerusalem, but now, in a revolutionary breakthrough, researchers have uncovered what might be history's most coveted artifact. It sounds almost unbelievable, doesn't it? For centuries, myths have spurred adventurers on daring quests, from Ethiopia to Ireland, in search of the lost Ark. Yet, what if the truth was concealed much closer than we ever imagined? This sacred relic, long believed to embody God's presence among the Israelites, mysteriously disappeared ages ago. Thanks to modern scientific breakthroughs, we may finally be on the brink of uncovering the true secrets of the Ark of the Covenant. Many researchers now believe they've identified its final resting place. One of the most talked about claims comes from explorer Wyatt, who said he found the Ark buried beneath the ancient ruins of Jerusalem's Old City. According to Wyatt, his discovery included not only the Ark itself, but also the original stone tablets of the Ten Commandments. History tells us that after the Israelites escaped from Egypt and settled in the Promised Land, the Ark was placed in Solomon's Temple, the holiest site in Jerusalem. But everything changed around 600 years before the birth of Jesus. Jerusalem was thrown into turmoil when King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon invaded the city, destroying much of it, including its most sacred places. But could the Ark have actually survived? And if it did, where has it been hidden all these years? Let's explore this fascinating discovery and try to uncover the truth behind one of history's greatest mysteries, the lost Ark of the Covenant, a revelation that could truly rewrite history. The destruction of Solomon's Temple was a turning point. It was during this invasion by the Babylonians that the Ark vanished from historical records. Its fate became a mystery, lost in time and buried beneath centuries of speculation. As the Babylonian army stormed Jerusalem, they built massive siege walls around the city, cutting it off completely from the outside world. In response, the Israelites created a hidden network of underground tunnels to move safely and secretly throughout the city. These tunnels became essential escape routes and supply channels during the siege. Amazingly, many of these ancient passageways still exist today. Archaeologists exploring them have uncovered a variety of artifacts, some of which have sparked new theories suggesting these tunnels might just lead us to the Ark's final hiding place. Could the Ark of the Covenant have been hidden deep beneath the earth in a sealed underground chamber? Some experts believe that's entirely possible. One of the most talked about theories comes from Wyatt, who claimed he discovered a hidden chamber beneath the ancient ruins of Jerusalem, one that had been sealed off and forgotten for centuries, and Wyatt isn't the only one. Over the years, many explorers and researchers have come forward, each claiming to have found the long-lost Ark. But why does this matter so much? The Ark of the Covenant isn't just any ancient relic. It's considered one of the holiest objects in human history, especially within Jewish tradition. The idea that it might finally be discovered has captured imaginations around the world. The biggest question still stands. If the Ark is found, will it match the descriptions given in the Bible? For scientists, the first step would be to verify whether the artifact truly belonged to the Israelites, or if it's simply one of many beautifully crafted chests used by ancient cultures in the region. If the Ark were ever revealed to the world, it would be a truly awe-inspiring moment, one that echoes the powerful biblical accounts tied to this legendary object. The Ark is described as being made entirely of pure gold, both inside and out, with intricate gold trim lining its edges. Its lid, known as the mercy seat, is said to be a true masterpiece of ancient craftsmanship. If the Ark of the Covenant were ever revealed to the world, it would be one of the most incredible and jaw-dropping discoveries in human history, one that could reshape everything we think we know about our ancient past. The moment the Ark was opened felt like unlocking a page from history frozen in time. What lay before them was breathtaking. The detail, the gold work, the sheer presence of the sacred object left everyone speechless. It was a moment few ever imagined witnessing with their own eyes. Atop the Ark's lid stood 2 golden cherubim, angelic figures with their wings outstretched, facing each other and focusing on the space between them. The mercy seat. This was not just artistic design, It held deep spiritual meaning and was considered the most sacred part of the entire Ark. The Ark's structure was just as intentional. It featured 4 golden rings, 2 on each side, meant to hold carrying poles made of acacia wood, which were also coated in pure gold. These poles were never to be removed, ensuring the Ark could always be transported with the honor and reverence it deserved. As scientists finally opened the Ark, a sense of awe and anticipation filled the room. Everyone was eager to find out whether the legendary contents described in ancient scriptures were truly inside. According to tradition, the Ark of the Covenant held 3 profoundly sacred items, each with deep spiritual meaning. First were the stone tablets of the 10 Commandments, believed to be the very laws given to Moses by God. These tablets represent a moral code that has stood the test of time, offering guidance across generations. Next was Aaron's staff, a powerful symbol of divine authority and leadership. This staff famously blossomed as a sign that Aaron was chosen by God to serve as high priest. Lastly, there was a golden jar of manna, the miraculous food that sustained the Israelites during their journey through the wilderness. It was a reminder of divine care and provision in their most difficult times. When the scientists laid eyes on the 10 Commandments tablets, they were left in awe. It was a moment that reinforced the idea that these laws were never meant to fade. They were a lasting foundation of moral truth. The symbolism ran deep. The presence of the 10 Commandments inside the Ark reflected the eternal and unchanging nature of divine law. But more than just a collection of sacred objects, the Ark of the Covenant represented something even greater, the very presence of God among His people. Each item within the Ark of the Covenant held deep symbolic meaning. The second set of stone tablets represented righteousness under the covenant established in the Old Testament. In contrast, the first set, broken by Moses when the Israelites turned to worship the golden calf, symbolized humanity's failure to uphold God's law. The jar of manna served as a powerful reminder of God's provision. It held the mysterious food that sustained the Israelites during their time in the wilderness, nourishment they didn't fully understand. Later, when Jesus miraculously fed 5,000 people, He referenced this divine provision, revealing an even deeper spiritual message. If the Ark of the Covenant has indeed been discovered, it would be one of the most extraordinary finds in history, one that connects faith, ancient history, and spiritual mystery in an unforgettable way. A deeper truth comes to light through the teachings of Jesus. He explained that the true bread from heaven wasn't the manna Moses gave, but what comes directly from the Father. Jesus identified Himself as the bread of life, saying He came down from heaven to give. What happened next was extraordinary. By the next morning, Aaron's staff had miraculously sprouted buds, blossomed flowers, and even produced ripe almonds. This powerful sign confirmed God's divine choice of the Levites as His priestly line, and affirmed Aaron's leadership beyond any doubt. The mercy seat and atonement. As scientists closely studied the Ark of the Covenant, one element stood out in particular: the mercy seat. This golden cover, placed atop the Ark in ancient Israel, held deep spiritual meaning. In biblical times, when the high priest entered the Holy of Holies once a year, he would sprinkle the blood of a sacrificial animal onto the mercy seat. This sacred act symbolized atonement. It was a way of covering the sins of the people and restoring their connection with God. This ancient ritual foreshadowed a far greater act of atonement, the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Just as the blood on the mercy seat stood between God's law and His presence, the blood of Christ now stands as the ultimate mediator. Because God is perfectly holy, human sin creates a barrier between Him and humanity. The law reveals this problem. It shows us how far short we fall. So how can flawed people stand in the presence of a righteous God? The answer lies in Jesus' sacrifice. Through His blood, believers are no longer judged strictly by the law, but are seen through the lens of grace. When God sees the blood of His Son, His justice is satisfied, and the sins of His people are forgiven. The Ark of the Covenant, more than just history. The Ark of the Covenant is far more than a relic of biblical times. It holds powerful symbolic meaning that goes beyond its historical and religious roots. In ancient Israel, the Ark represented the very presence and unmatched power of God. It wasn't just an object, it was a sacred sign of divine authority. When the Israelites carried the ark into battle, it was believed to bring victory, and entire cities fell before them. Because of its holiness, only a chosen few could even approach or touch it. Anyone else risked instant death. The ark was placed in the innermost chamber of the temple in Jerusalem, known as the Holy of Holies. Only the high priest was allowed to enter this sacred space, and even then, only once a year, on the Day of Atonement. The movement or unveiling of the ark was considered a deeply sacred event, carried out only by members of the tribe of Levi, specifically those descended from Aaron, the first high priest. These Levites, chosen as the royal priests of the covenant, were given the solemn responsibility of guarding and caring for the ark, ensuring it was treated with the utmost reverence. To this day, the Ark of the Covenant remains one of the most powerful and mysterious symbols in all of biblical history, a representation of God's presence, His authority, and the sacred link between heaven and earth. Handling such a holy object was more than a duty, it was a divine responsibility. Handling the sacred, the Ark of the Covenant. Transporting sacred objects, especially the Ark of the Covenant, required strict guidelines and absolute reverence. Only individuals from the tribe of Levi, specifically the descendants of Kohath, were authorized to carry these holy items. Before any movement, the ark and other sacred objects had to be carefully covered according to detailed instructions. They were never to be placed on carts or handled casually. Instead, they had to be carried using specially crafted poles. Any deviation from these commands was considered an act of disrespect, and the consequences were severe, even deadly. Touching or handling the ark without proper authority, even with the best intentions, was a fatal error. Unless someone could prove they were a descendant of Aaron or divinely appointed for the task, even a simple touch could result in immediate death. One powerful example is the story of Uzzah, who reached out to steady the ark when it appeared to be tipping. Though his intentions were good, he was struck down instantly. This story remains a sobering reminder of just how sacred the ark was. Only the Levites, or those specifically chosen by God, were allowed to handle it. The ark wasn't just a religious object, it was a powerful symbol of God's presence and the deep spiritual connection between Him and His people. Handling it wasn't just a duty, it was a holy responsibility. The Ark of the Covenant, reverence, exceptions, and the role of the Levites' access to the Ark of the Covenant was never taken lightly. Casual interaction with it was strictly forbidden. Allowing just anyone to see or touch the ark could have led to disaster and confusion. Its holiness demanded the highest level of respect and protection. However, there were rare moments when God made exceptions. On certain occasions, specific individuals were allowed to approach the ark, not because of privilege, but because of divine purpose. These people were chosen to witness something sacred, and they often shared their experiences to inspire others and strengthen the faith of future generations. Their testimonies reminded the people just how significant the ark truly was. According to biblical tradition, only those from the tribe of Levi were allowed to handle the ark. This made the Levites distinct among the people of Israel. Even today, it's believed that only about 4% of Jewish people can trace their ancestry back to the Levites. The unique role of the Levites. Unlike the other 12 tribes, the Levites were not given their own territory in the Promised Land. Instead, they lived throughout the various regions of Israel, serving as spiritual leaders, caretakers of the tabernacle, and examples of devotion to God. Since they didn't farm or own land, they were supported through a system of tithing, where the rest of the Israelites gave 10% of their produce to sustain the Levites and their work. The Day of Atonement and the Mercy Seat. Once a year, on the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, the high priest would enter the Holy of Holies, the most sacred space within the tabernacle, and later, the temple. In this deeply solemn moment, he would sprinkle the blood of a sacrificial animal onto the mercy seat, the golden lid of the Ark of the Covenant. This sacred act symbolized the atonement of the people's sins and the restoration of their relationship with God. It was a powerful reminder that forgiveness and mercy were at the very heart of the covenant between God and His people. The Ark of the Covenant, bridging holiness and humanity. The Ark of the Covenant served as a sacred bridge between God's holiness and human imperfection. Inside the ark, beneath its golden cover, the mercy seat, rested the stone tablets of the Ten Commandments, which formed the foundation of God's law. Whenever those laws were broken, judgment followed. But above that law was the mercy seat, symbolizing God's grace, offering forgiveness to those who sincerely sought atonement. The ark was far more than a religious artifact. It was a powerful representation of God's presence, holiness, justice, and mercy. Only those chosen by divine appointment, specifically from the tribe of Levi, were allowed to come near it, ensuring it remained sacred and honored through the generations. Mercy seat and divine judgment. The act of sprinkling sacrificial blood on the mercy seat was central to activating divine mercy. It was this act that allowed grace to triumph over judgment, as reflected in James 2:13. Mercy triumphs over judgment. Without the shedding of blood, there was no atonement and no mercy. Because of its sacredness, God gave precise instructions on how the ark was to be handled. In Exodus 25:14, God commanded that the ark be carried using wooden poles inserted through gold rings on its sides. These poles ensured the ark could be transported without being touched directly, an act that was strictly forbidden, a warning through history. This command was taken so seriously that even touching the ark, no matter the intent, was considered an act of disobedience. A powerful example comes from 2 Samuel, where a Levite named Uzzah reached out to steady the ark when it appeared unstable. Though he meant no harm, he was struck dead instantly. His death was a sobering reminder that God's commands must be followed exactly, and that only designated Levites were to carry the ark, using the poles as instructed. The Ark of the Covenant stood as a profound symbol of the balance between God's justice and mercy, an object of deep spiritual significance that pointed to the seriousness of His holiness and the depth of His grace. Theories about the Ark's location. Over the years, scientists, historians, and theologians have put forward many theories about the current whereabouts of the Ark of the Covenant. One of the most enduring and widely believed theories points to Aksum, Ethiopia, specifically the Church of St. Mary of Zion. According to Ethiopian tradition, Menelik I, the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, visited his father in Jerusalem and later brought the Ark back with him to Ethiopia. It is said that the Ark has remained hidden ever since in a small chapel near the church, guarded continuously by a single monk. This guardian, chosen for life, is the only person allowed to see or approach the Ark. The Ethiopian tradition and its roots. This theory is deeply embedded in Ethiopian culture, faith, and history. Across the country, many Ethiopian Orthodox churches house replicas of the Ark, known as tablets, as sacred symbols that reflect their connection to the original. Furthermore, Ethiopia's former emperors often claimed direct descent from King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, reinforcing the belief that the Ark rightfully resides in their land. Despite these rich traditions and widespread belief, there is no external or scientific verification to support the claim. The Ark has never been publicly revealed or examined by historians or archaeologists, which means the theory remains unconfirmed. For now, its presence in Ethiopia is a matter of deep faith and national pride rather than established historical fact. The Copper Scroll, a different clue among the many intriguing clues about the Ark of the Covenant's possible location, is the Copper Scroll, an unusual and fascinating document discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls. Unlike the other scrolls, which were written on parchment or papyrus, this one was inscribed on metal, giving it a unique place in archaeological history. The Copper Scroll lists 64 hiding places for treasures believed to have come from the temple in Jerusalem. Some researchers speculate that it may contain clues pointing to the Ark's whereabouts, possibly somewhere near Qumran, close to the Dead Sea, where the scroll itself was found. However, the text offers no clear directions or coordinates, making its true meaning open to interpretation, divine insight, or perhaps to remain hidden forever. While some continue the search guided by faith and research, others believe the Ark's location will only be revealed by God at the right time. Throughout history, a few individuals have claimed to have experienced a divine glimpse of the Ark, suggesting that its sacred presence may occasionally be revealed as a sign from above. But the larger question remains, If the Ark were truly found, would God allow it to be made public? One of the most well-known claims comes from explorer Ron Wyatt, who said he had physically seen the Ark of the Covenant. However, he also claimed that a mysterious supernatural event prevented him from taking any photographs or collecting physical proof. His account, lacking documentation, remains surrounded by mystery and skepticism. Wyatt later reported that when he tried to return to the site, he encountered 4 angels who told him the world was not yet ready to witness the Ark. The absence of any images or video has only deepened the mystery, adding yet another layer of intrigue to one of history's most enduring spiritual legends. The Ark's hidden purpose and its final biblical mention. Some accounts suggest that the Ark of the Covenant will remain hidden until a time when a universal religious law is established across the world. Until then, only those specially chosen by God would be permitted to see or touch it. To fully understand the significance of the Ark, we must return to its final mention in the Old Testament. According to 2 Chronicles 35:3, during the reign of King Josiah around 630 BC, the Levites, who were entrusted with teaching and guiding the people of Israel, were instructed to place the Holy Ark in the temple built by King Solomon. This passage marks the last clear reference to the Ark in the biblical narrative. The Ethiopian Connection, a legendary journey. One of the most enduring and well-known theories connecting the Ark to Ethiopia is rooted in the 14th century Ethiopian national epic, the Kebra Nagast, the Glory of Kings. According to this ancient text, the Queen of Sheba visited King Solomon in the 10th century BCE. From that union, she gave birth to a son named Menelik Wern. As a young man, Menelik journeyed to Jerusalem to meet his father. Although King Solomon wanted him to remain in Israel, Menelik chose to return to Ethiopia. But he didn't leave alone. A group of young nobles, unwilling to part from their homeland, secretly took something of immense spiritual importance with them, the Ark of the Covenant. By the time Solomon realized the Ark was missing, it was too late. Menelik had already departed with the sacred object, bringing it to the city of Aksum in Ethiopia. There, the Ark was placed under his protection. With the Ark by his side, Menelik went on to expand his influence, conquering nearby lands and laying the foundation for what would eventually become the Ethiopian Empire. This story, as recorded in the Kebra Nagast, is deeply woven into Ethiopia's national identity. Legacy of the Ark of the Covenant. A short summary. The Solomonic dynasty ruled Ethiopia until 1974, claiming descent from King Solomon and Menelik Wurst. Emperor Haile Selassie upheld this biblical lineage, which was even written into Ethiopia's constitutions. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church believes the Ark of the Covenant is hidden in the Church of St. Mary of Zion in Aksum, guarded by a single virgin monk who dedicates his life to protecting it. Though the Ark has never been seen or verified, each Ethiopian Orthodox Church holds a tablet, a sacred replica kept in the Holy of Holies and brought out only on special occasions. These are treated with deep reverence, symbolizing the original Ark's enduring presence. The mystery of the Ark's true location remains. Some believe it still exists, hidden and waiting to be revealed. Others believe its deeper purpose was fulfilled through the resurrection of Jesus Christ. The image of 2 angels at Christ's empty tomb mirrors the cherubim on the Ark's mercy seat, symbolizing redemption and restored connection with God. Whether hidden or fulfilled, the Ark continues to inspire wonder, faith, and mystery. What do you think? Is the Ark still out there, or has its meaning already been revealed through Christ? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more fascinating stories.